Happy employees create happy customers.
The best thing about being in the car business is it does not matter what happens, we pivot.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Great week to be in retail automotive. You just saw the trailer for the live ASOTU tonight. We'll talk about it if you're on the podcast, but we're going to talk about ASOTU making the news for once in our lives. We did it. We did it. We always talk about the news. We're like, hey,
Let's
we're
make
in the news.
Why not?
I know. We're going to need another one of these mugs.
Wow.
Like,
But and then it's gonna have a picture of our actual faces, and then my wife was like, "Well, Paul got his actual face, you didn't." I was like, "Scroll down, scroll down."
No. It's in there. It's in there. Oh man, we have these mugs of when we were in automotive news, but it was just kind of the back of us, and we always like our team made this for us as a joke. But now we've actually been in automotive news with our faces. We'll talk about that in a second. But you just saw the preview. If you're watching the live stream, live tonight by ASOTU is happening this Wednesday live in Atlanta. And if you can't be in Atlanta with us on Wednesday, it's actually going to be on Thursday afternoon live stream. So we hope you can join us, whichever one you can join us for. But if you are in striking distance of Atlanta, please go to ASOTUX.com and get yourself a ticket. If you work for a dealership, you can come for free. And we have like dozens and dozens and dozens of people from frontline work, like the front lines of dealerships, already confirmed that they're on their way. This is definitely going to be our biggest live tonight we've had.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a riot, a ton of fun. We got the red carpet rolled out. We're gonna have all the food and drinks and the whole 9 yards. And
the
then
Buckhead Theater, by the way.
It's at a theater called Buckhead Theater. It's a Live Nation theater where like big acts come and play, and so it's just gonna have the vibe of a night. It's an evening, so you can get there. We don't start. Doors open at 6. The show doesn't start till 7. So even if you're at the store or you're working all day, you're downtown Atlanta, wherever you're at, you're outskirts Atlanta, make sure and drive in. You're going to want to be there. Dealers come free. Or if you are an Atlanta, Georgia community member, like work for a news source or work for someone in the community, make sure that you get there because we made those tickets available as well. Yeah, so that's super cool. We got a lot to talk about this morning. Gosh, we brought on a new creative director on Friday.
We should have had her on the show. We're gonna have her on the show tomorrow.
Maybe we'll do that.
Maybe we'll bring her on tomorrow. That's a good idea. Tomorrow or Wednesday.
So if you have been around the auto ecosystem for a little while or been to any PASH events over the last 3 years, you may have been introduced to Kelli Verdi. She took about a year off of the auto scene and is coming back with the ASOTU crew. She's a dynamic, energetic personality, matches so much of what we do over here at ASOTU, and the team's already got the chance to meet her, and she's hitting the ground running, just going to add a whole level of energy to the ASOTU crew and continue pushing us forward and just bringing us together to serve the industry well.
Yeah, check her out on LinkedIn, KelliVerdi. Hit up the profile. Show her a little love. Welcome her to the ASOTU crew community style. You know what we're saying? What else? Do we have anything else that we got to talk about?
We got an Amplify podcast dropping.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Garcia got Amplify podcasts all over the place. Some of the most high-level, encouraging, energetic conversations that I've had in person at a conference. Thanks to Reuters for helping us putting that podcast together. Speaking of news organizations.
Stop. Segue.
Time. All right, we get to be the first story today. From reporting the news to making the news, we want to thank Dan Shine, the editor of the Fixed Stops Journal for Automotive News, also writer Abigail Ham for publishing this piece that just came out. I think came out late Friday. We saw it Saturday on our More Than Cars series, on our docu-series. So I read it. I put a couple clips in here from from because we can talk
I always love to hear like
what how do other people use. Yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Unless, well, we'll probably have some haters. So
we got a couple words on Reddit.
Well, I think we posted the series on Reddit, and we got a few haters. We're like, oh, I like those words too. Let's talk about it.
That's what Reddit always is.
Here's some words though from the Automotive News article. More Than Cars hosts Paul Daly and Kyle Mountsier grew to love the auto industry while working in it. Now they want to teach others to love it too. I love that so much.
I wish
Yep,
that was
good,
short enough
captured
to
it.
put on a t-shirt because I would lean in on
I
that.
don't know, man. We could fit that on a t-shirt. Another one. More Than Cars aims to highlight what Daly and Mountsier feel is an overlooked side of car sales and service, the humans behind it. Finally, the duo who run the auto retail content creation company, Automotive State of the Union. We were like, that's probably the best contextualization of who we are. Hope to make 7 more episodes. They will film the 2nd episode in Atlanta this month. Actually, in Atlanta on Thursday.
Let's go. Yeah, I love, the fact that the auto resale content creation company, like that fits them. Like, yes, there's more to that. I maybe we throw like community in there and things like that. But for us, it's really cool. It was great to share. We got to be on with Abigail and chat with her, and she's newer to the industry, and that I think she's an intern reporter for Automotive News, and she got to kind of listen to everything that we were saying and ask questions, and it was neat to hear the questions from her perspective. So and then we've gotten countless messages over the weekend, last weekend, from people on LinkedIn or in our text messages, just encouraging what we're doing. And that's not to like say, hey, we've done it, we've arrived, or anything like that, but we know that this is what the industry wants and needs. So continue to share it out. This is, I keep saying this is for the industry. This isn't for us. This is the industry's. Like, we're giving it to you to push out and to move in and to go into communities and say, yes, this is us. This is exactly who we are. So use it as that.
So the plan is to shoot 7 more episodes. This was the pilot episode is released. You can go to morethancars.tv to see the pilot episode. Episode 2 is going to be filmed in Atlanta on Thursday. And we have episode 3 teed up as well. And we'll be talking about all this stuff. But it's important to say this has been very expensive to make the show. We're investing a lot of our own money in getting this off the ground. We thought it'd be cool to have a crowdfund campaign to let the industry support it, what it is that we're trying to do for everybody. You can also check that out at morethancars.tv, and a lot more announcements and stuff coming about that soon. Let's see.
Speaking of announcements,
Stop. Segue.
So amongst a rare show of dissension, Toyota's annual meeting has sparked a debate over Chairman Akio Toyoda's cautious approach to electric vehicles, with shareholders, including one of which the New York City Comptroller's Office and California Public Employees Retirement System. They're both considering voting against his board reappointment due to his resistance to an all-electric lineup. If you didn't know, Akio Toyoda, Toyoda, grandson of the founder of the company, actually stepped down as CEO to hand it off because of a lot of resistance about his EV strategy and what he thought was the best way forward, or the most reasonable way forward. Toyota released a statement. It said, even in this difficult business environment, Chairman of the Board, Akio Toyoda, has been strengthening our competitiveness from a long-term perspective. So although the probability of his removal from the board is super, super low, even a slight reduction in support can be seen as an embarrassment in Japan's consensus-driven corporate culture. And it's not, this is a great story. They say it's not uncommon to have shareholders stand up and tearfully thank him for what he's done for the company.
So wild. Like that's impressive when a leader of a company can move others to tears in thanks over typical. So to move like even a little bit from what just a year ago was a 96% approval rate to renomination is pretty. It's just an interesting environment, because you just look at what Toyota's doing in the marketplace, and it's clear that they are still front runners in the overall marketplace, that they're still leading the game. It was funny. We were actually in a Toyota dealership last week in a major metro, and the sentiment there was, well, we got one EV, but ain't nobody around here looking for that sucker. Like that was the sentiment. 2 people said that to me. So, it's just interesting. And you kind of look at like New York, California, definitely a totally different political landscape, totally different economics and landscape than a lot of the country and what they're experiencing and what real buyers are doing. So it's really interesting to see this like dichotomy of positioning from
Mhm.
brand and automakers to actual activity. And I think that riding the balance of that from an executive stance is continually going to be something hard to do over the next 5 to 6 years, as many automakers are saying, like, this is the way we're all in.
You know, it reminds me of this phrase we use to talk about stock prices. And is it a voting machine or a weighing machine? Voting machine being what pop culture thinks it's worth, a weighing machine being what the balance sheet and the P&L actually say it's worth, like what it's actually really worth. So Toyota, you get the weighing machine and the voting machine in this conversation, and it's hard to think that it's not a lot of pop culture sway happening in here. Speaking of one thing swaying another.
Whoa. Segue.
This is unbelievable because Tesla could be adding up to $3 billion to its annual revenue by 2030 and up to $5.4 billion by 2032 just from GM and Ford partnerships alone, according to Piper Sandler analyst Alex Potter, who released a research note last week. These figures may be not significant to their overall annual revenue of $80 billion. But the interesting thing is it's not just an impact to the bottom line of Tesla, but potentially could impact the bottom line of its competitors, namely GM and Ford, who have recently made announcements to utilize the charging network of Tesla, seeing as their current EV programs are unprofitable. And this may change the way that they need to grow and scale their charging networks over the next few years. So just wild that, like, with a snap of a finger and a couple of agreements and a couple of big announcements in a month, they've got a projection out for a few years from now to add $3 billion of revenue just from charging networks.
There is an element like where it talks about GM and Ford missing out on revenue, but obviously Tesla has a huge head start in making EVs. They have a huge advantage in making them and being able to sell them profitably, and they've demonstrated that over time. I think that not having to focus now on the charging standard and all that, I think the element of focus is actually going to be beneficial for Ford and GM, since that's just another divergence of like where they have to allocate resources and time and to really kind of like go on that play. I think it actually, from a brand perspective, it moves them closer to the progressive nature of what Tesla is and represents. So I think from a brand standpoint, aligning with Tesla in places they can align actually is really good for them in an economy and in a situation where they have to kind of say why they're different so much, which takes a lot of energy, a lot of money, a lot of, advertising, a lot of thought. So I like the play. I think it's really good. And for Tesla, the $3 billion, is it going to make a big difference? Knowing that they're using your money to compete against you is a little bit of a rub, but still,
it's kind of
it is what it is. Hey, look, we have so much going on this week. We hope you follow along with us. Follow us on LinkedIn, a SOTU page on LinkedIn. We post a lot of stuff there. We also have it going on Instagram, TikTok, and please get the email newsletter, asotu.com.